Good morning, everybody. Trevor here, back to another fun Fitness Friday. For those of you that are new to watching these videos, every Friday we get together, we talk a little bit about fitness, maybe a little bit about nutrition here and there, and give you one simple, fun thing to do over the course of the next week to get up, get moving, and get active. So who the heck am I? I'm Trevor Brown. I own Kearney CrossFit. We are a gym in Kearney, Nebraska, and I've been a gym owner for the better part of the last 15 years. And over the course of that time, we have also developed a nutrition software company where I'm the head of business development. But on these days, it's all things fitness. So if you have questions or you want to reach out, you are more than welcome to do so. You can get a hold of me at trevor@lifebasedsolutions.com. Or you can just head over to lifebasedsolutions.com and check out our website there. So what do we have for you today? Well, I have two things for you today. They are simple enough in nature. One, I think that everybody can do regardless of age or ability level. And the other is going to be a little bit more advanced, but both of them are going to be great for core stability, mobility, and overall function. So let's start with kind of the simpler of the two movements, this less technical. And this is something where we're going to play a little trivia game. So if you can imagine, this would be something where there's a world record for it. And the world record is not 1 hour for this movement. It is not 2 hours. It is not 3. It is not 4. I'll give you a hint. It's more than 5 hours. Do you have any guesses as to what this might be? This, but the world record for this is more than 5 hours. The answer, I'm talking just a normal plank held on the forearms, right? Good job. We got one person that got it there. So a plank held on the forearms. Do you want to take a guess as to how long that world record is? It was set in 2023. The world record is 9 hours and 38 minutes. So I am not challenging you today to hold a plank for 9 hours and 38 minutes. As a matter of fact, I will contend that a 9-minute plank would be an elite level plank. I can't even imagine a 9-hour one. I'm trying to wrap my head around how you actually train for a 9-hour plank. A lot of long days in mind. With that in mind, we're going to scale it back a little bit, and we're going to talk about why it's good for you. So we want to talk about strengthening here. This is when I refer to mobility and stability. Mobility would be the ability to move through a full range of motion, right? Be flexible in a sense. Stability is the ability to almost prevent injuries, right? You're very stable, very strong in the core, great balance, things along those lines. Think there's a term called stabilizer muscles, right? Where there's the little tiny things in the body that kind of make everything work. It's those little kind of often neglected components that help your body function the right way, preventing injuries and leading to better improvement from a fitness or athletic level overall. So planks are very good for stability in that nature, right? They're not going to help a lot with mobility or being flexible, but they're really going to build core strength. So there's some things I want you to focus on. I'm going to demo this, see if you guys can see me down here on the floor to the very best of my ability. So what we are looking for in this position, right, is hips to be a little bit high. What I don't want is to drop my butt down, okay, and feel my low back kind of curve down. I want to think a very neutral spine. If anything, I'm going to slightly kind of push my hips into the air. So what this is going to look like is a nice, strong plank, arms straight out in front of you like railroad tracks. Now, the key to this movement and to really doing it the right way is to flex every muscle in the body as you're doing it. So you want to think about keeping the abs engaged. You want to think about flexing the obliques. You want to think about flexing your butt cheeks, the whole 9 yards. Keep every muscle really, really flexed and tight. So I encourage you to do this. I encourage you to try a regular old front plank, right? And you could go from a low plank on the forearms to a high plank on the hands if you want. But just do it for 30 seconds at a time. And then do it 2 days later for maybe 40 seconds. I think a really good goal is to be able to hold a 3-minute plank at some point. So write that up on your calendar, write that up on a board somewhere where you can make our long-term goal to get to a 3-minute plank. Okay, and then we can do advanced things like side planks, but I think that's for another day. And as a scaling option, you can always go to the knees for a plank, right? even if we're here on our hands and knees. Okay, the more forward I lean, the harder it's going to be. The farther my hands get out in front of me, the harder it's going to be. But the same concept applies. We are still keeping our abs tight. We're still flexing every muscle in the body. Okay, so now let me give you our second movement. This is what we refer to as a third world squat. So where does that come from? Well, as weird as it sounds, in third world countries, a lot of times they don't have like formal bathrooms and utilities and things like that. So they actually use a restroom with a hole in the ground, right? And so that's where the term Papa squat comes from. So this is a third world squat. Now, what I mean by that is we're going to be in our normal squat stance with our heels out just underneath our armpits. And as I squat down here, let's get this a little lower. As I squat down, I'm driving my knees out, keeping my chest up. Notice I'm on my heels. And now I'm going to take my hands and put them together. And I'm going to drive my knees out. Now, the key to this is you're not coming up on your toes. You're very stable, okay? Upright chest. And I'm going to hold this position for my goal would be 1 minute at a time, right? So now from the side, what does this look like? It's like this. Now, I don't want to let my back round, so I don't want to hang out down here. Pull my chest up, drive my knees out. Notice that I'm staying back on my heels. This and having the ability to go through a full range of motion is a great indicator of mobility. So a big difference between stability and mobility, right? In this case, we're looking to be able to move our body, the lower half especially, through that full range of motion and do so while keeping our chest up. So very simple in nature, but what if I can't squat that low? Here's a couple options. We talk about this all the time whenever we talk about squatting, right? We can take a chair and we can very simply try to hold in this chair, stand back up, or I encourage you to try to hold yourself like my butt is barely touching the chair. I'm using my leg muscles to hold here. Things like that where you can put a target lower and lower and lower. So maybe you got a little medicine ball or a little riser that's a foot or 8 inches off the ground. And you can work on dropping the hips down or dropping the butt down to touch that little platform there. So some things you can build on. The difference between stability with the core and with the plank and mobility, being able to move the body through a full range of motion. Both are great indicators of health and will go a long way for your lifelong health and fitness. So on that note, guys, we've got planks and we've got third world squats. Both of them, I encourage you to just try, start small and build with the length of time in each one as you go. Maybe the end goal is not 9 hours, but 3 minutes for that plank could be a great goal. Have a great weekend, guys. Next week.